Whoa, this episode packed so much. Hijinks, top-notch comedy, callbacks to past places and characters, a brand new character, goofiness, drama, and one of the most, if not the most, heart-palpitating cliffhangers Adventure Time has pulled. Finn, and the other Finn too, what's gonna happen to the both of you? We might be left contemplating this question with a bated breath for a while. There are no confirmed air dates for future episodes at the current moment in time. It seems I Am a Sword ends the chain of weekly episodes we've been having. Oh, what a devious cliffhanger this is indeed. But let's rewind to the beginning of this amazing episode because I am getting ahead of myself. The wild and emotional ride starts with Finn and Jake on the trail of an unknown bandit, with Finn being antsy and impatient from the prolonged and unsuccessful pursuit. Before calling it a day, he decides to do some sweet sword tricks atop a rickety bridge, despite the stern disapproval of Finn's sword. Finn's freestyle rap starting off with,
"It's the boy! I'm a boy!"
is so apt when he's engaging in this immature, negligent, and potentially dangerous behavior, and the result is, of course, the loss of the Finn sword. Judging by the background elements during the search scene, Finn wasn't the first to foolishly attempt weapon tricks on the rickety bridge above. This episode finally explores the relationship between Finn and Finn's sword, and in general, there's this running theme throughout the entirety of the episode about the relationship between people and objects. In fact, it's alluded to so much, at times it feels like you're being banged over the head with it.
Talking to inanimate objects. Get a load of this guy.
Analysis of the subject is too bulky to jam pack into this review without smothering the rest of my thoughts, so I will delegate that topic of discussion to its own video. It's gonna be a doozy to dissect the many ways this theme manifests. But now, back to discussing the other components of this episode. We got a brand new character! Okay, two new characters technically. Spearbear has taken over the role of Sword Shark. But Bandit Princess is the one who I want to discuss in detail. The monster movie-like perspective used to first introduce her was terrific, and serves a threefold purpose. The in-universe reason is because Finn sees what Finn's sword is witnessing, which results in this over-the-shoulder style perspective. In terms of story structure, it retains an element of mystery while still establishing just how sanguinary this villain is. And figuratively, Bandit Princess is a monster. Her whole deal is getting glee from ruining the lives of others. Bandit Princess's design is one of my favorites out of the whole series. She's mostly humanoid, but with deer-like ears and massive striped horns. Seriously, those horns are awesome. They might have been inspired by Ankle Watusi cattle, which are the most badass of all cattle. Just marvel at these astounding wonders of human domestication. They're so cool! Bandit Princess's attire is not at all what I was expecting though, but I think it still works really well. The overall design is an amalgam of human, feral beast, and demonic attributes, and that's totally my aesthetic. However, my only gripe with this episode is that I was slightly disappointed with the personality of BP. Don't get me wrong, I like her, but I didn't end up liking her as much as I wanted to. She felt a tad on the flat side, and I didn't find her charismatic enough. If she was more menacing, or more flamboyant, or more something, she could easily have ended up as one of my favorite characters. I get the point that she's supposed to be a supremely shitty person, and making her personality more magnetic would be antithetical in a way to this trait. You can express pure evil to such a severe degree that it makes for a fascinating character, case in point, the Lich. But making a character a shitty asshole and simultaneously captivating? I have to admit, that's an extremely difficult balancing act to pull off. Considering how Bandit Princess scampers away by the episode's end, I hope the Adventure Time crew is able to achieve this feat for her eventual reappearance. Come on, Bandit Princess, show up, hopefully in less than a dozen episodes, please. While BP's backstory is grimly comical,
I was born with rabies, and my parents didn't love me because they both had mono.
I think it works better as a joke than an actual backstory. BMO asks whether
Some people are just a pure city sidewalk boom boom from a red dunk and that's all there is to it.
But if Bandit Princess's backstory is true, that's clearly not all there is to it. She is even cognitive enough of the underlying cause herself that she can admit her rough upbringing shaped her current identity.
So now I do stuff like this!
Personally, I'm far from certain that this is her real backstory, considering that rabies is almost always fatal, and if it spreads into the brain causing frantic and frenzied behavior, that's already at a stage beyond the point of no return. Also, to be born with rabies, you'd have to be bitten by a carrier of rabies while you're still in the womb, which is an awkward scenario to visualize, to say the least. Also, mono tends to last a few months at the longest, so that doesn't fit the narrative either. But yes, the counter-argument is that it's a fantasy universe, animal-virus interactions can be fictionalized, and all that junk, I know. Still, it wouldn't be the first time a character with antisocial personality disorder made up a comical lie about their backstory.
I didn't steal it. I made that item. Made it with the magic that I stole!
Finn's nightmarish visions of Bandit Princess's misdeeds prompt Jake to ask what the dream was about this time, as he casually lists all the things that cause Finn to wake up screaming.
Breakup, lich, me dying, you dying, other breakup, growing up, never growing up, or spiders.
Extraordinarily hilarious, but exceptionally dark in its implications. That's my favorite type of humor, and Adventure Time nails it so much this episode. Jake and Bemo's blasé attitude to the chronic torment their friend experiences demonstrates that underneath Finn's brash exterior, he has been deeply traumatized by the many experiences that have shaped him. Relationships, death, growing up, staying a child. All things that permeate the nether regions of Finn's mind. Also spiders! Jokes aside, Bemo alludes to this concept of recurrent adversity more seriously at the end of the episode.
Jake, why does this thing happen to Finn?
All the challenges and tribulations Finn faces are molding him into a hero, but it's not as if he's coming out unscarred from all these experiences. Like many episodes before it, I Am a Sword was exceedingly grim underneath the non-stop knee-slapping comedy. Bandit Princess left a trail of destruction in her wake as she looted and maimed. Finnsword was forced to experience these abhorrent acts firsthand. The Finnsword situation was already tragic enough on its own, and yet it's taken even further as he becomes an unwilling accomplice to that which he actively stands against. Finn has a moment of reflection yet again where he ponders whether he takes those around him for granted, this being the third time in recent history. But I don't think Finn fully internalizes that this instance of it has led to serious and lasting harm, both for Finnsword and those on the receiving end of him. Finn declares that he alone will settle this conflict as he engages Bandit Princess, and refuses Jake's help even when he finds himself in a pinch. His actions could be seen as manly or valiant, but I see it as a massive farce. He has turned this confrontation into a matter of misguided honor. Finn thinks if he can single-handedly regain his Finnsword and put a stop to Bandit Princess, he would be fixing this stupid mistake of his, that it somehow would right all the wrongs that had transpired as a result. It's a foolish and egotistical outlook, and it ends in disaster as Finn stabs himself and passes out. Finn still lacks awareness in many respects, and I have to wonder if this latest traumatic experience will start to change that. And speaking of wondering, is Finn in an actual coma? Did he simply faint from the shock and will wake from his fetal position after his mind and body receive the proper rest? Or did piercing his duplicate have a tangible effect on his own existence? Are the lives of the two linked together somehow? And that green glow of Finnsword and the ominous sound. What is gonna happen to Finnsword now that a portion of the grass sword has crept into it? When Finn turned into Finnsword, his arm was already the grass sword, so technically grass sword is already a part of Finnsword. So what sort of integration or combination is actually occurring here? My initial feelings upon seeing these enchanted blades of grass worm their way into the cracked jewel was simple-minded relief. Finnsword is going to be okay! But what if that's not it? What if the result actually ends up as a monstrosity? It might become a weapon, a hybrid of the grass and Finnsword together, but knowing that Finnsword is actually Finn, it is a person, this sword might transform from a sword into an actual new character for all we know. And this shade of green is really haunting. It's not reminiscent of the grass sword's color, it is far more comparable to the green associated with the Lich, and there's no way such a detail was merely glossed over. This story arc could continue down the tragic route, one where the death of Finsword may have been the more favorable outcome in the long term. I certainly wouldn't put it past Adventure Time to travel into such dark places. But the possibilities are countless. So much could happen with this plot point. Please feel free to provide your personal predictions in the comments. Just what is occurring beneath this smiling face? I can't wait to find out.